Good weekend. Ira Epstein, and here we are. And I am recording this on Saturday, May 10th, 2025. This is your weekend edition for Spider Stocks and ETFs. And what a weekend it is. You know that the negotiations in Geneva, Switzerland are going on between the United States and China. As I understand it, in total, they met just shy of 8 hours today. And you don't meet that long if you don't got a lot of things to talk about. You're not asking how the kid's doing, right? So that's going to be the first thing. It goes tomorrow again. So I think you will find that you're going to walk in afterwards and both sides will agree, whether it's tomorrow or they've agreed they'll go back and get it done. The tariffs are going to come down. They're not going to go away. They're going to come down. How much is up in the air? Scott Bessent, as you know, during the week said he thought an appropriate reduction would be to 50 or 60%. And the president on Friday said he would do it at 80%, but Scott can do whatever he wants. Okay. So there's some leeway that you have in there, but I think something will get done. What gets done, what makes it get done, the fentanyl issues, if you will, to bring just a Chinese ship into an American port, the extra fees we put on away from tariffs, I don't know. Couldn't begin to tell you what they're talking about. Don't know if they're talking about the South China Seas. I don't know. We're going to find out as we hear this. Everything's tight-lipped. Another event, we saw the European Union, Ukraine, come to an agreement to force a proposal to be made to Russia for a 30-day truce. The United States joined in with the president. I understand he joined into the meeting via satellite phone or maybe video conference. And they're going there, and it's a take it or leave it. And if Russia doesn't want to take it, huge sanctions will come on to cripple the revenue that Russia gets out of oil. So you've heard this. We've seen that things happen. We know how many ships went idle, but this is even bigger, and the tariffs have been coming out of the UK and so on against them anyways, so it's all picking up. The United States meets with Iran tomorrow. Do we get anywhere talking about going back to the nuclear treaty and stopping the enrichment of uranium to weapons grade? Don't believe a thing the Iranians say when they're not headed to weapons grade. They are headed to weapons grade. They could be there for all I know. They might have it for all I know. We don't know what's real anymore. And this idea, trust us, we'll work with you, don't trust them. You got to keep their feet to the fire. And then we're going to see Israel and Hamas. There's another deal on the table there, a take it or leave it. And as I guess, I went out with a friend of mine who is Israeli last week, and I asked him, he goes regularly, and he's telling me life is normal in Israel, and he's a true Israeli and lives in the United States, brought up in the United States, but speaks Hebrew as much as English. And he was telling me life is normal, very much normal. Properties are selling. He's a businessman there and here, and away it goes. Interesting guy. A diamond broker, by the way. So interesting. All right. So instead of covering all this, you know, I want to remind you, you've got the Mother's Day sale from me. You have icons up here, 1/3 off any of my research. Let's go to charts and talk about this first. And I decided to look at Wayfair. And the reason is so much of the product they sell come from Vietnam and from China. But I don't think most people know their business model isn't one where they own that inventory. They, if you will, take the orders, a lot of AI going on in the company. They're firing hundreds of people as they're able to get more AI going, and I see how that would work in a company like this to get things moving. Their primary business, as you should know, is over the internet. They have open stores. We have them in Chicago. In fact, they're very popular, but they got smashed when COVID hit, and then they got smashed with the tariffs now, and yet they're coming out of it. So it depends how you looked at the last earnings. They did earnings without the special charges they took and with the special charges they took. But the market has been coming up a little bit. This is a weekly bar chart. When we look at the swing line, the pattern is one of higher lows and higher highs, bullish. The market no longer is in the bear trend, as I call it, on the swing line, but it's not in a bull trend in momentum. It would have to close over 37.24, and that from where you're at is roughly, what is that, $4.50 or so, in order to get the pattern with higher lows, higher highs, and over this number. So I can make an argument that you can get up to 37.24, but you're probably going to spend a lot of your capital in doing it. In the Bollinger Band, the market had hit the band, came back in, hit it, came back in, and that's the pattern we've been going with. And in momentum, you're just coming up in momentum, and no major moving averages in front of this market but the 18-week. The 100-week is here, the 200 there. Therefore, I can live with the fact that any news that's positive with China and Vietnam, that we hear tariffs coming down, should be friendly this stock. Even though they don't own it, the prices won't be high. And that's going to be the big issue. And you know that most of the Chinese imports that, are hard goods, let's call them, a lot of furniture is in that, a lot of furniture. And from Vietnam. The CME group, as I told you, volume, volatility, and they're adding, it's almost like they have a new product coming out every month now. And they are being ferocious about this, coming up through here. They're running the upper Bollinger Band. They hit it, they back away, and now have they gotten a weekly embedded reading? Well, both numbers this week were over 80, and they were last week, but not the week before. So this is an important week if it's going to embed. It's over the Bollinger Band. I teach you never to buy the band. You wait for the market to get under it if you're in a buying mode. It doesn't matter if you're buying it higher than the band. If it gets up there and it pulls back. That's not what it's about. It's about being on the side of the momentum trade more. In Netflix, what can you say? The market just keeps going for new highs. I know it was down $16 for the week. That's okay, but it's at the upper Bollinger Band, and you made a new all-time high at 1164. You think that's bearish? I don't think that's bearish in any manner. When we go to MCHI for China, you bottomed out between, first you hit the 200 week, and you fell immediately to the 100 and came back. So you're void of a trend. I don't see a trend on this. I see a higher high, lower low. Speaking of China, their factory gate numbers came out today, Saturday. They're a disaster. 6-month low. Their CPI, consumer prices, a 3-month low. So if you have 6-month low in factory gates, you're not producing. Obviously, the cutbacks are happening, and prices are probably down, a mixture. It's not good. They need to get this behind them, too. That they can say they don't and argue all they want. Nonsense. In Home Depot, getting a little bit of a bid, but like Wayfair, this is a bear market rally. This is not a bullish signal. This is a signal not to be short. This is a signal where you can run up maybe to the 18-week, and maybe hearing that China and the U.S. do something could give it a little bit of a bump, because how much of the stuff that we see in a Home Depot and tools and like are made in China? Something to think about. Uber went up for the weekly Bollinger Band, made a new high this week. It had hit it last week, the Bollinger Band, made a new high, overbought. On pullbacks, I'm very interested in coming back in. And I like this market. I do have my subscribers, if they followed that trade, they are in that trade. KRE, this is a bear market rally. We're hearing a lot of that. But unlike the other markets, it's a bounce in a bear. The others ended a bear move because they got the swing line pointing up. This has lower highs, lower lows. So the market fought a battle for a bit here. Remember, this is a weekly chart. At the 100 week in the Bollinger Band, got your bounce. And I'm looking for between right where you're at now and the 18-week average, the resistance. The market would be telling you it's out of the bear trend if it gets over, just ticks over, 59.46. We'll see if that happens. XLI, the industrial companies, up and away. We're seeing earnings have been a surprise in the stock market. They're good. Wayfair doesn't give guidance on a yearly basis. I don't know if you're aware of that. They deal in quarters primarily. And they've been doing that since COVID and everything else. But here, I'm looking at friendly market. The question is, if you buy at 132.83, I think it's too much money to risk on a weekly chart down to 121.14. I'd like a better chart picture if I were making a recommendation in it. In XLE, I was surprised that the market held here. I really thought it was going to go down more. Now, if this market just gets over 83.20, you get one of these patterns that will come out of that of higher lows, higher highs, and I'll be looking for the 87.22 area as a possible short covering zone. When we look at the dollar, this chart, if you look at it, is still embedded, still bearish. The numbers are under 20, and they've been staying that way for weeks. I think everything's going to depend on this week. How do our trade partners do? What do they do with us? We saw we had a deal with the UK. Okay, we don't know what those deals details are. We know the guide rails. I hope you understand that. The wording has to get done. I told you there would not be a signed trade deal, that I thought there'd be either what we call letter or memorandum of understanding. That's where this fits in, and that's a good thing. It's not a negative. They'll get to the deal whenever they get to the deal. In gold, you're still coming up. Now, up here, a little bit concerned. You're at the Bollinger Band top. And if you look at momentum, if you're not up tomorrow, and if, by the way, if China and the U.S. agree to something, you're probably going to see the gold drop on that news. That could take this market and cause it to lose the embedded reading. Lickety split. As the market's barely hanging on, even though it was higher, look where it closed in the range. And in the range, you're at the bottom tier of the market. So be an interesting week to watch it. Last but not least, the copper market. I think if China signs a deal, you probably get a boost in the copper. If you clear 39.63, I can make an argument quickly for the 100-week average at 40.26, if not higher. No deal, I think this market goes down even further. So I think that you have an interesting time. I think an awful lot hangs on everything I told you about China, the U.S., Ukraine, Russia, the U.S., Iran, okay? I mean, it just keeps going on and on. There's so many deals here, and let's see where they all come out. In the meantime, your deal's in front of you. Take advantage of the Mother's Day sale. You get 3 months for the price of 2. Take advantage. There'll be an icon up here, or as you know, if you're on YouTube, there's that circle. It's I think right up here. And the letter I, give it a click. It takes you right to the link. Give it a haul, and away you go. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great Mother's Day on Sunday, and I'll see you all come Monday morning. Take care.